Hello, ladies and gentlemen, freshmen of the year 2020-2021. I want to welcome you to Kibabi University, a great university that is towards a very positive trajectory, and I believe you will be part of the team that will move it to the next level. And I also hope you're staying safe. My names are Dr. Noel Malanda. I work in the Student Affairs Department as the Deputy Dean of Students. Today I want to take you through two short presentations. The first one will be about channels of communication, and the second one, I'll just briefly talk about a few challenges that students at the university go through. I will start with the issue of channels of communication. In your capacity as a student, in any given institution, you'll always have grievances, you'll always have matters that you need to be addressed. And usually, there is a channel through which you do your communication as you move towards the higher level. So, for us at this university, we have two categories of issues. One, we have academic issues or academic matters, and we also have non-academic matters, which are divided into various areas. So I'll start with the academic matters. When you have grievances of which are academic in nature, that is, they're dealing with your lecture, they are about your lecture issues, they are about your marks and such issues. The first person you deal with is your class representative. As you get into Kibabi University, you'll be given the opportunity to decide who your class representative is. This is the person who will be representing you to various lecturers, to various chairs of department and so on and so forth, to bring forth or to articulate your academic issues. So the first person you'll go to is your class representative. And if the class representative feels that they are not able to deal with that issue, they could refer you, or they could refer the matter to the course lecturer, especially if it's something to do with a course. Or if you feel that you have not been satisfied by what the class representative has told you, then you'll proceed and seek the indulgence of your course lecturer. If you feel that your issue needs further attention, or if the course lecturer feels that it needs further attention, then they'll move it to the chairperson of department. The chairperson of department, if they feel that this issue needs to be channeled further, they'll move it to the dean of faculty. I believe by now you know which faculty you belong to. Then from the dean of faculty, if it needs further redress, it will be taken to the attention of the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs. From there, if the matter needs to be escalated further, that is when it will be taken to the Vice Chancellor. So students, you don't just wake up, go knock to the Deputy Vice Chancellor's office or the Vice Chancellor's office saying you have an issue. You first start from your class representative. I hope you've got that about academic issues. Next, we have non-academic issues. We have various categories of non-academic issues. We have grievances by resident students. We have grievances by non-resident students. We have welfare matters, and basically there are those three. Now, looking at the resident students, if you are staying within the campus and you have a challenge, the first person you'll go to will be the student leader. Each hostel has a representative within their hostel who is a student leader. That is the person you will seek indulgence on the issue. If they feel that it needs further attention, then the issue will be taken to the janitor or the housekeeper When the housekeeper feels that it needs further attention, then they can address it with the hostel's officer. If the hostel's officer feels it needs further attention, then they will address it with your warden. In every hostel, you have someone called a warden. I believe you have talked to your wardens, or you now know your wardens, and if you don't, you'll know them in due course, because they'll be dealing with your welfare or with your matters at hostel level, at residential level. From the warden, if the warden feels that there's need for more redress, they would move the issue to the Dean of Students. The Dean of Students could move it to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor, if they feel that this issue needs further attention, they would then take it up with the Vice Chancellor. Those were residential students. We have non-residential students, the ones we call non-residents, who live in private hostels out there. They don't live within the campus, or they don't live in campus or university-owned hostels. When they have issues, you'll start with the student leader. Every area in the non-resident area, every zone, we call them zones, and we have 4. We have 2TA, 2TB, we have a booster, and we have university. So whichever zone you belong, I believe you'll be told there'll be a student leader there. This student leader would address your issue with the warden. If the warden feels that there is need for more attention on the issue, they would then address it with the Dean of Students. From the Dean of Students, the channel moves to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs. Then from there, it would then move to the VC. We have the third area, which are welfare issues. We have various welfare issues within Kibabi. Sports is a welfare issue, games, drama, clubs, those are welfare issues. So when you have such issues, you first start with a leader in that area. For instance, for clubs and societies, we have the special interest secretary. When we come to sports, we have student leaders who are in charge of sports. So that's where you start. Then it moves to the games tutor, or a relevant officer in a specific department or a specific division that is related to your grievance. From there, it then moves to the Dean of Students, then the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs, and finally, the Vice Chancellor. This protocol, or this channel of communication, is applicable to all students. So kindly be conversant with it. It is right in your student's handbook, and try to follow it if you want your issues to be addressed procedurally. I believe I'm done with that area. I want to move to the next area, which are the challenges you will face, or you're likely to face, when you're in the university. There are many challenges, my dear students. Some of them are self-imposed, others are there because of your background. One major challenge that students face is economic challenges, where the finances are a challenge. And I must say that these financial challenges come in two ways. One, they could be because of your background, where your parents are not able, or your guardian is not able to meet all your needs. On the other hand, we have students who are fairly well catered for by their parents or guardians, but because they want to live beyond their means, then they end up having self-imposed financial challenges. I'll first look at the genuine financial challenges. Here, you find that a student is not able to manage their upkeep, or a student is not able to pay their fee. I can tell you, as a university, we may not have the capacity, or rather we don't have the capacity to make sure all these needs are catered for, because we expect your parent or guardian to do it. But we always have that human heart and human approach to issues, because we realize that you could be coming from a background where affording is difficult and you really want to learn. So here, when you come to the Student Affairs Office, you will be advised on how well to deal with your issue. You may not be given the money, but you could be given ideas on how to get the money. At times we have very good staff in Kibabi. At times they donate, and that would help you to be able to get a meal. It has happened to other students, but it is not a guarantee and it is not a must. And at times we will advise you, apply in your county for fees, apply in various other organizations, and it could help you move to the other level. We could also put you on work study if you are very, very extremely needy, so that it assists you. So all these channels are open and you are free to come to the department for help. I want to beseech you students, having financial challenges is not the license to go out there and exchange sex for money. We have an area called Kandui. It is on the, I believe, the Northern Corridor. And we have very many truck drivers and other businessmen. But remember, that kind of life also comes with other challenges. We have HIV, AIDS, and nowadays we also have Corona. So kindly, if you have challenges, use the right means. Don't exchange sex for money. Another challenge could come because you are fairly catered for, but you want more. You want to live a lifestyle that you cannot afford. I would urge you students, kindly live within your means, cut your coat to your size, and avoid wanting to live like someone else, so that you don't have the challenge of falling into a trap of getting other challenges like unintended pregnancy, because you went to look for money by selling yourself off on sex. So we want to urge you to really have integrity and to uphold your dignity and avoid that challenge. Another challenge that students go through is peer pressure. We come from different families, and maybe you want to look like so-and-so. So you'll do what they do so that you look like them. Peer pressure could make you get into drugs if you're not careful. Very many students have got into drugs and alcohol so that they conform out of peer pressure. Peer pressure can even lead you to be radicalized, because you want to look, you want to be in so-and-so's league. So they will easily convince you into radicalization. And at times radicalization also comes in because of economic issues. So avoid peer pressure. You'll get to know more about radicalization, because I believe the security team will talk to you about radicalization. So I'll not go into much detail, but kindly avoid peer pressure. Many students have had unintended pregnancies. They've got into drugs and alcohol. They've been radicalized due to peer pressure. Some have dropped out of school because instead of going to class, they are out there doing their own things that are not related to their studies. Because remember, when all is said and done, it is your certificate that will tell us you came out of Kibabi. So kindly take note of that. We have another challenge, and these other challenges that we have, especially with students, is about relationship issues. You have come to the university, you have all the freedom. Ukitaka, unaweza lala saa 1 ya asubuhi, unaweza lala saa 6 ya mchana, unaweza lala jioni, unaweza lala kesho. So there is a lot of freedom. There is no bell, by the way. So due to that, you have all the time. And remember, you are young adults. You are at an age where you need to get into relationships. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm intentionally calling you ladies and gentlemen, because ladies and gentlemen uphold their dignity and integrity. I want to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. It is okay to have relationships at your age, but it is important to have boundaries and limits within which you go to these relationships. So there are students who get into relationships, they end up with unintended pregnancies, they end up with abortions, including crude ones. Many a times, Medical personnel have come to us telling us your student had a crude abortion and they cannot have babies anymore because we had to remove the uterus. Imagine yourself. When you want a baby in future, you cannot have them. Why? Because of an action you indulged in. We want to urge you, if you get pregnant, from my motherly point of view, I'll tell you have that baby. But I'll tell you avoid relationships that would get you into a situation where you'll have an unintended pregnancy and they could even lead you to abort. Keep within the limits. Having a relationship does not mean you must go horizontal and have sex. You can have a very fulfilling relationship without having sex. So kindly be careful. And where you have challenges, where you feel you don't know how to navigate, come see the counselors, see anyone in student affairs, see anyone you can confide with so that you are able to navigate this stage. We were there and we know, so we are telling you what we know. So kindly, relationships have an issue. And when you have issues in relationships, because at times you could get into a relationship, you are head over heels about this lady or this gentleman, and then they ditch you. It is not the end of life, girls and boys. I'm calling you girls and boys because you are my children. It is a lesson learned. Don't commit suicide alone. If you feel like you really want to commit suicide, come to student affairs. We will give you the right rope to use to commit this suicide. And at the end of the day, we will all laugh. As it is always said, the beautiful ones are yet to be born. Even the handsome ones are yet to be born. So let not one make you commit suicide. When you think about committing suicide, imagine that person is a frog and they are the reason why you want to commit suicide. I wonder if you do that for a frog. And remember that the prince or princess is on their way. Forgive yourself, hold your head high, and move on. Because umeteleza, lakini haimaanishi hawezi endelea. Amka uendelee. There is something better ahead. So kindly, relationship issues are the challenge, but please let it not take you to extremes like suicide, drugs, and so on and so forth. Another challenge that students have is the issue of time management. Remember, sons and daughters, when all is said and done, academics is your core business here. It is important to get into games, to get into clubs. Very important for your leisure management. It is important to go out and have some fun. But how much percentage of your time do you give that? Of course, it has to be the least. Because when you are here, we expect you to have a timetable. We expect you to manage your time well, to go to class. Remember, if you don't go for if you go for less than 80%, it means that you are not eligible to sit for exams and get those marks. So kindly go to class, do your assignments, do what is intended of you as far as your academic is concerned. And apart from that, always remember, leisure is important. Choose the right leisure activities. We have very many activities in Kibabi that you could do. There are games, there's music, there's drama, there's hata salsa iko. Sijui kuna ingine inaitwanga zumba. Hizo zote ziko. But kindly never forget what brought you here first. So learn how to manage your time. Before I leave, there's one thing I never miss to tell freshmen. Freshmen, women included, you'll hear something called sexually transmitted marks. You came here because you earned the marks that brought you here. That's why you're in the university. Unajua siku hizi si kama zile za kitambo. Tumesema hii marks yenu siku hizi they are very genuine. So you came here because you genuinely deserved to come here. Don't come here and start giving sex to be given marks. If you realize that anyone is pressuring you to give them sex for them to give them marks, come and see us. We will deal with this matter with confidentiality and make sure you are awarded what you deserve because you worked for it. But don't be lured, don't be threatened into exchanging sex for marks. And please, many times you are the temptation. You are the ones who go to lecturers wanting to give them your body for marks. We will catch up with you. We are asking you not to do that. You are a lady of dignity, a man of dignity, a man of integrity, a lady of integrity. Uphold your integrity. As I finish, I'm telling you, when all is said and done, academics is your core business here. I wish you well as you go through the 4 years in Kibabii University. You may imagine it's a long time, but it is not. It will fly away like nothing. So all the best and may God bless you. Asanteni kwa kunisikiza.